Hi everyone, Gerry Dulac along with Ray Fittipaldo at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, where the Steelers were embarrassed again on national TV, losing 25-10 to the Los Angeles Chargers. Our Steeler Report brought to you by Savinas, Kane & Gallucci, Mesothelioma and Asbestos Lawyers. With 85 years of experience for getting millions for their clients, go to sdklaw.com. And Ray, it was just another stinker by the offense. Last week they were able to capitalize on the opportunities they were given from takeaways, but they had only 225 yards offense last week. They went even lower tonight, 229 yards, 21 yards, worst performance of the year by Aaron Rodgers. They got the early field goal from Chris Boswell, didn't score again until that late touchdown of Roman.
And you kind of knew it was going to be a long day. Their first possession started at the 40 after the Chargers kicked it out of bounds. They got a 3-and-out. They had the punt. Second possession starts in Chargers territory. Again, another 3-and-out, and they settle for the 59-yard field goal. And honestly, Gerry, after that, they really didn't threaten the Chargers all that much until garbage time. You mentioned the yardage totals. Passing-wise, Aaron Rodgers hasn't had more than 220 yards passing since the Thursday night loss in Cincinnati. It's been a struggle for this passing game.
Yeah, he had to finish with 161 yards, Ray, but 65 came on that final drive when he threw the touchdown to Roman Wilson. It was just a struggle the whole game. He had 85 yards offense in the first half, only 3 first downs. They didn't convert a third down until the fourth quarter. Jaylen Warren stood out in the second half. A number of big plays put him in position certainly to get that last touchdown. But other than that, wasn't a whole lot of anything. Aaron Rodgers threw 2 picks, and the one that was most costly was near the end of the first half, Ray, because then the Chargers took that, went right down the field and scored a touchdown with 12 seconds to go and made it, I think that made it 15-3, so it gave them a bigger cushion going into halftime. That one really hurt.
And for the first time this season, I kind of felt like Aaron Rodgers was forcing the ball to DK Metcalf. He was asked in his post-game news conference about the fourth down play when they had to go for it on 4th and 6. He threw it into double coverage there. Sensed a little bit of frustration from Rodgers. Don't think his receivers were getting open a whole heck of a lot for him, Gerry. And you just wonder, even though it's only been 1 week, you wonder if they're going to activate Marquez Valdez-Scantling for next week's game, just to give this offense a different look. Right now, it's very stale.
Yeah, about the only time you saw open receivers was Roman Wilson on the touchdown, Pat Freiermuth a couple times. But you're right, Ray, there wasn't a lot of open space, and that's not because they were playing him tight as much as they just weren't getting him open. But on that play, Ray, it was either a bad call or a bad decision. He threw it into double coverage. He lined 3 receivers to the right. He said he probably should have looked the other way, and that ball had really little chance of being caught. And that was a big moment because not only did they score, but then the Chargers needed 6 plays. Boom, they go down the field, a 58-yard catch and run, and whatever hope the Steelers had at that point just frittered away into the night.
Yeah, and they really had a hard time covering Lad McConkey all game. 4 catches, 107 yards, really the backbreaker, that 59-yarder on both occasions. On that play and the touchdown across the middle right before halftime, Brandon Echols was in coverage. And last week I thought the changes, Jalen Ramsey moving back to safety, were really good. Now the adjustment the Chargers made, okay, we're going to attack your new slot corner. Steelers never really made an adjustment to that. I asked Mike Tomlin after the game, did you think that going back to Jalen Ramsey in the second half? He said no, they're going to stick with Jalen Ramsey at safety.
Yeah, that's the way it's been going. And, Ray, all in all, the defense didn't play that bad. They held Justin Herbert to 220 yards passing. He's the second leading passer in the league. They sacked him 5 times. The first half they had trouble. They started okay against the run. The Chargers ended up, I think, with 111 yards passing. Kimani Vidal actually had a pretty good game. He got some negative yardage there at the end. But all in all, the defense was okay. But the offense couldn't do anything, and nothing to help bail them out.
Well, listen, Alex Highsmith had 2 more sacks. That's 4 in the past 2 games. He's been very
good, yeah.
T.J. Watt, another sack. Keanu Benton. It wasn't Justin Herbert in passing that lost this game. He had 220 yards and obviously a few big ones to McConkey. I thought the Chargers controlled the game at the line of scrimmage, and you wouldn't have thought that, Gerry. All the injuries on their line, their starting 2 tackles are gone. But they found a way to make it work, and there were just some gaping holes for Vidal to run through.
Ray, it's funny. Last week, Aaron Rodgers said before the game he sensed a different kind of energy in the locker room. he thought was a byproduct of the speech from Jaylen Warren,
Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey the night before, and of course the Steelers went out, capitalized on those mistakes by the Colts, and won the game. But he said he felt just something different about this team in the locker room, that they didn't have the same kind of energy, and it showed in the way they played.
Yeah, I think good teams make their own momentum, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's the way it works. And Gerry, you have to start wondering about this football team that now lost 3 out of their past 4. Granted, that one win in there was a very impressive win, but they still got all their tough games left in the second half of the season. You're talking about the Lions, the Bills, the Ravens now playing well. The Ravens
Won 3 in a row.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for this team to stay in contention. I know they're in first place now, Gerry, but it's going to be hard for them to stay.
Aaron Rodgers keeps bringing that up. He was asked about how do you go forward. He goes, well, we're 5-4 in first place in the division. But here come the Ravens, that once comfortable lead in the division, Ray, that was 2.5 games over the Bengals and 3.5 over the Ravens, is now just 1 game over the Ravens, and they have 2 games coming up against them. You know, Ray, it was the first time I thought this year where Aaron Rodgers looked 41 years old.
I would agree. You know, he tried to step up a couple of times on both occasions. The edge came and got him. Broderick Jones didn't do a great job of sticking on his blocks there. But when guys aren't open, you've got to try to make something happen. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have those legs anymore to run. He tried it today to scramble to create more time. It just wasn't there for him.
Ray, that's 3 primetime games in the last 4 weeks they've lost. 93-66 is the combined score of those 3 games. They have not convinced the rest of the league or a national television audience that they are a team to be reckoned with. They've been embarrassed basically in 3 primetime games.
Can the Steelers get the NFL to flex them out of these primetime games, because they're not doing very well? Still got a couple more, including a Monday nighter at home.
Yeah, against the Miami Dolphins, who all of a sudden go and beat the Buffalo Bills pretty handily. The Steelers come home next week, play the Cincinnati Bengals. We know what happened last time in that crazy wild shootout in Cincinnati. Then they go on the road against the Chicago Bears, who, Ray, are 6-3. So the schedule gets harder for them. And based on what we've seen the last couple games, something's going to have to change here real quickly. For Ray Fittipaldo, I'm Gerry Dulac. You've been watching Post-Gazette.com.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.